Most of the European drivers have a little trouble getting themselves acclimated to these high banks, Chris.
Well, the European type racing is twisting road courses. There's not a bank turn in Europe anymore since the carousel at the Nürburgring was abandoned, so they're used to flat tracks, and this is really a difficult thing for them. Drafting is something they're not accustomed to.
Long back straightaway. Al Jr.'s car right here, car number 1, up in the back of the field. We'll be inside of this car a lot of the day.
You know what's nice about the backstretch here, Ken? It's 4,000 feet long, and it's a chance for the drivers to rest and get ready for the tough turn 3.
Let's take a look at another in-car camera view here as they get set for the start. Darrell Waltrip's car is carrying one of our CBS onboard cameras today. Of course, he's a little closer up.
He's looking at the back of Harry Gant's car. Now, they are two drivers of the same mold. Watch them do the same thing at the same time.
And the man on the pole has that third camera, Rick Mears. Looking back at the field from Rick Mears' car as Indianapolis stars, stock car giants, sports car racers, age versus youth, father against son. In round 3 of IROC 10, pace car about to come in. Field moving down for a start. Here they are, headed for the tri-oval. Remember, start-finish line, not in the tri-oval, but some 400 feet toward turn 1. Coming down. 12 automobiles lined up for the start. Jochen Mass on the outside. Here they are, coming to the line, taking bridge.
And it's the only shifting they're going to do, Ken, is the shifting they're doing to get to top gear now as they barrel into turn 1 with Rick Mears jumping out into the first place. Mears earlier this week went 222.5 miles an hour in a test run with his Indianapolis car with a new Chevy engine at the Michigan Speedway. So he's used to Talladega type speeds, that's for sure.
Back straightaway, Jochen Mass being challenged by Hurley Haywood on the inside. They gang up, going down into turn number 3. And on the inside, that's Haywood making the move, and Rahal coming to third. Bobby Rahal on the charge. The last time out in this car, that silver car, he won at Mid-Ohio. Tight running up in 3 and 4.
Boy, are they ever close there. The orange car right in the middle there is an absolute meat in the sandwich. Boy, they're not giving each other much room, particularly these Europeans who just don't like this early going. They like to have the track pretty much to themselves where their technique can show through, not their bravura.
Now the man also on the move in the yellow car, that is Hans Struck. He's pulled up. Struck has gone into 4th. Maas is in 3rd. Dale Yarborough trying to get sorted out. 1 of 38 laps complete. They're back in turn number 1. Up on the banking another time.
Stucker's on a roll. He was the winner of the 12 Hours of Sebring in March of this year and wants to vindicate himself. He's a bit embarrassed about his performances in the IROC so far to date.
Looking from Rick Mears' car, back through the field. Bobby Rahal sliding back a little now as they go down into 3.
Hey, Hurley Haywood right behind him there, filling up Rick Mears' mirror.
There's Haywood looking inside.
Mears is just really getting back in form, Ken, after his accident of late 1984 at Saint Air, Canada, where both his feet were just virtually destroyed.
But he's really come back in form. He has turned unofficially the fastest lap in an oval track form in the history of the sport. 222 miles an hour this week up at Michigan, Chris.
Look at that chain. Just an absolute chain. With, if we're wondering what the weakest link might be. Waiting. That shows how evenly matched the cars are this year. In the past, there have been complaints that some of the cars were substantially better than others. But here, this year, they've all said to be precisely the same. Mears' car was 8th at Daytona and 4th at Mid-Ohio. So the first time, I believe, that this car has been out in front in an IROC competition during 1986.
Mears, Haywood, Maas, Struck in the first 4. Waltrip's in 5th. Yarborough has come to 6th. Unser Jr. up to 7th. Harry Gant in 8th. Bill Elliott is 9th. Then Al Unser in 10th, Rahal 11th, Ludwig 12th. That is Al Unser Jr. from the face cam as he works his way around these high banks through the tri-oval.
He's like his father. He's very calm. Notice his head looking straight ahead and making no sudden move. Now, he's in the middle of this traffic jam, and he's just very calmly guiding that car. Now, as he goes into the corner, you can see how much steering wheel you have to use there. That's what one of the complaints of the Europeans is, that the steering is too slow for their particular taste. And yet, Al Unser Jr. having no problem at all.
These cars are so much warmer than the Winston Cup stock cars that we'll see tomorrow, the Talladega 500. They are so slippery that no air gets inside of them, and the temperature really gets hot for these drivers. They'll cook in here.
Well, there's no cool suits either. There's no water circulating through capillary tubes in the suits as you'll find in tomorrow's Talladega 500. So they're in this oven for as long as the race lasts.
Here they are on the tri-oval, and that is Elliott moving up under Al Unser Jr. as they continue to wage war. Back they come. 4 laps complete this time. The man who'd like to make a move, Unser Jr. on the inside, but he's slipping back.
It's interesting. Road racers are lying second and third. Haywood and Moss are up to second and third. Their best showing so far in the competition.
They came out of the gate, made their moves, and now they've stabilized. They stay right there. $575,000 at stake. $150,000 to the winner. Let's take a look at the in-car thermometer on Darrell Waltrip's automobile, which has come into 5th position.
I would say that turkey needs basting.
Is he at rolling boil or at boil?
I don't know, it's certainly a simmer, if nothing else, but it's hot, period.
Looking from Waltrip, running in 5th. That's Stuck directly in front of him, the West German.
Mears is driving the same car that Harry Guillen led 30 laps at Daytona before falling out with fuel pressure problems. So Rick Mears not only doing a good job, is in a good car. There's one driver way up high in the gray stuff, and it's awfully close at the top of the banking back there.
Meanwhile, out of turn number 2. Look at everybody just hold position and wait. Boy, this could be a gang finish at the end of this one. Down the back straightaway another time as they go to that very fast part of the corner. Turn 3. Very quick turn.
Jochen Moss is feeling his oats, trying to make a move into second place there.
And bringing with him Hans Stuck.
The Germans are ganging up here today.
Still in front is Mears. Tight running down out of 4. Mears first. Swapping positions. Jochen Moss now going up for second. The black car is Moss. Hurley Haywood in 3rd. Falling back to Stuck. He falls to 6th, maybe to 7th.
And 4th and 5th places are the stock car boys on the move there. Cale Yarborough and Darrell Waltrip, 4th and 5th. We have an Indianapolis driver, 2 European road racers, and 2 stock car drivers. Truly an international leading vanguard here.
Back straightaway, Mears, they're willing to let him lead for now. I wonder if Jochen Moss is willing to let him lead, if he'll challenge right here.
Well, one thing that Moss is deficient in, and that is the last lap slingshot. He's never experienced it. He wouldn't know where to begin it, so maybe he'll try to take over from Mears and pull away if he can. But these cars are so evenly matched that really the difference here, in addition to the driving, is the aerodynamic forces, Ken, the draft that prevails so virulently here at Talladega.
7 laps complete of 38 this time. Rahal keeps winding back toward the rear of the field. He's back to 11th position now. Mears holding on up in front. The great Indianapolis car champion. He took that new Chevrolet for a test at Michigan International Speedway and unofficially turned a lap this past week at 222.5 miles per hour. The record 221 set by the late Mark Donahue here at Alabama International Motor Speedway. Qualifying in Michigan ought to get really wild.
Klaus Ludwig, the man who is learning the racetrack right now, is in last place, but he's in a car that has finished 12th at Daytona and 11th at Mid-Ohio. So his car doesn't have too good a track record, but Ludwig is using all of the racetrack. He's going high in the middle and low to feel out the track, so when the time comes for him to make a move, he'll know how the car will respond in various sections of the racetrack.
Hurley Haywood trapped out of the draft, falling back in the red automobile as Mears stays in front, but on the charge on the outside, look out, Cale Yarborough coming up, busting through. He's coming up for a challenge on second. He gets it. Now Jochen Moss in the black car falling back, and the orange machine closing on the blue number 7. That's Cale Yarborough, 1984 IROC champion.
The Europeans are not used to what we call the outside pass. It's never done in road racing, and that's what Cale Yarborough just put on those drivers right there to move into second position.
If Cale Yarborough wins here at Talladega, he'll become the all-time IROC race wins leader with 5. If Waltrip or Al Unser win, he'll join Yarborough, Neil Bonnet, Bobby Unser, and Bobby Allison atop the list with 4 victories. We'll be back with more. Averaging 182 miles per hour, we have a new leader as we're working lap number 12. Cale Yarborough has taken over here in IROC round 3 with a tremendous run, and he's brought Bill Elliott with him into second. Mears has fallen back into third. Let's get an in-car camera view of the pass that's made Cale Yarborough number 1.
Okay, there, Yarborough going to the outside after drawing a bead on Mears, slowly inches aside, slowly going by as Mears' car falls down to the inside and starts to fall back. And Yarborough brings fellow stock car driver Harry Gant, or rather Bill Elliott, with him through there. Elliott's in the car that won the last oval track race, and Harry Gant is right on Elliott's bumper. Well, there you have it from the viewpoint of the car.
Bill Yarborough started in 7th, Bill Elliott in 9th. Let's get a word from Ned Jarrett down on pit road.
Well, Ken, it's a little surprising that Yarborough was able to make his move on the outside, because in all the testing and setting the cars up here, they learned that by running the very bottom groove, these cars would run about 0.3 of a second faster than running on the very high side of the racetrack. Now, if they ran in the middle of the racetrack, they would lose about 0.15 of a second. Evidently, they didn't tell Cale Yarborough that, because he just moved up every car that he passed. He went right by on the outside.
You know how tight the competition is, Ken. The interval between 1st and 12th is only 1.1 seconds.
All 12 still fighting it out as we come down for 13 of 38 laps complete. Yarborough and Elliott trying to draw away, and now trying to hold on. Harry Gant gets his nose of car number 2 in the hunt. It is Harry Gant in the dark blue number 2, and I'll tell you who else is on the climb. Look at that white machine. That IROC Camaro is Al Unser Jr., the 24-year-old, youngest winner ever in IROC. And he's beginning to clamber up through the standings. Remember, he started in 2nd. There he is, right behind Gant.
We've got 3 stock car drivers in the top 3 positions, 2 Indy car drivers, 4th and 5th, and then come the road race.
Down they go into turn number 3. Don't forget tomorrow, live flag-to-flag coverage of the Talladega 500, 1 p.m. Eastern, here on CBS. Al Unser Jr. looking just terrific again today. He had a terrible crash this week. He crashed in testing at Michigan and wiped out a Doug Shearson car at over 200 miles per hour on Tuesday. But he's back here running like the old champion that any Unser comes out as at 182 miles an hour in this draft into turn 1.
He said he destroyed his Indy car in the cement wall of Michigan, got out, walked away, and got on a plane to come down here to practice for the IROC. You know, NASCAR drivers had won 7 straight IROC races dating back to 1979 before Bobby Rahal won at Mid-Ohio a year ago. So they're trying to get back up front now.
Back straightaway. Challenge for the lead. Elliott noses up. And a tight draft now with Yarborough as they try to get some distance. And that is not Mears in 3rd. That is Harry Gant now in 3rd. Unser Jr. in 4th. Then Al Unser in 5th. Darrell Waltrip in 6th. Mears in 7th. Sneaking a peek on the inside at yellow car was Hans Stuck. Al Jr. looking back at his father. That's fine, Dad. Stay right there. I may need you later.
You wonder what kind of emotions Al Sr. is going through. He's sitting there behind his son. He's got to be proud of his ability as a racing driver, but yet he still, as a racing driver, wants to pass him.
Great story here, Chris, the other day, qualifying for the Talladega 500. Look at Al Unser Sr. pull up on his kid here. Drafting tight right on the rear bumper, over 180 miles per hour. In qualifying for the Talladega 500, Bobby Allison qualified 20th. 1 car left to qualify the other day. It was his son, Davey Allison. And his son, Davey Allison, turned the fastest lap on this track ever turned by a Junior Johnson car. He was in Neil Bonnett's car, and in doing so, he put his father into the next day, knocked him out of the field. I talked to Bobby about it afterward, and I said, how'd you feel? He said, well, his grandfather was smiling, his mother was smiling, and I got to tell you, I was smiling.
Well, that's great. Well, for the first time today, Klaus Ludwig is not last. Hurley Haywood has dropped to last place in the red car. So Klaus Ludwig has started his move. He is now 11th.
Klaus Ludwig moving up, and apparently the Haywood car in trouble and falling about 8 car lengths behind the field. On the backstretch, Yarborough getting perhaps a 2.5 car length advantage over Bill Elliott. Holding right on Gant as the stock car trio runs 1, 2, and 3. These same cars perform again in 2 weeks at Watkins Glen. We'll be there following the action for the finale at Watkins Glen 2 Saturdays away, August 9th.
I don't think we've had an IROC oval track race where the cars have been so closely bunched for so long, Ken.
Rahal trying to make a move back on the inside. We'll be... Cale Yarborough, former winner of the Talladega 500, 83 Winston Cup career wins, took a shot at Indianapolis car racing with the late Gene White. He's leading here today, 84 IROC champion out of turn number 2. Bill Elliott, 16-time Winston Cup winner, only winner on super speedways. This is his cup of tea, stays right there. Gant, the man that turned it all around a year ago in the last race of the series, is holding on in 3rd. How hot is it out there? There's Waltrip's car. And 120 is the temperature out there right now. I talked to Darrell about the temperature, as hot as it is here in Alabama. How does this affect you physically? And does it impair your vision?
I've never had it to affect my vision, but I do feel like it affects your judgment somewhat. That the car might move a little bit before you react to it. That you might run up to a guy a little closer than you meant to, or that you might make that move that you've been wanting to make a little later than you intended to. I think everything slows down just a little wee bit from the heat and from the exhaustion.
Oh, there's Darrell Waltrip, maintaining 6th position in the race.
Well, the road racing drivers have fallen to the tail end of the field. The 4 road racers are in the last 4 positions. But NASCAR drivers have won 7 straight IROC races dating back to '79 before Robbie Rahal won it a year ago. And Big Al Unser won at Daytona this year, and Little Al at Mid-Ohio. That makes 3 out of the last 4 for the IndyCar drivers. And they're going to have to get out of where they are now if they want to win this one, because those 3 stock car drivers are plotting what to do on the final lap, which is coming up quicker than anyone expected.
24 of 38 laps completed, and never has Jay Signori put together a field that is as equal as this. They're still 1 second apart, all 12 of them. Cale has the advantage, but it is no advantage. Elliott is right there in second. Gant in third. Al Unser Jr. has unlimbered some fine driving prowess, and he's pulled himself into fourth. You're looking at the tail end of Harry Gant's car here. Saturday afternoon at Talladega, Alabama. Tomorrow, live on CBS, the Talladega 500. Always one of the most competitive races in the world. Record for a 500-mile race, 186-mile-an-hour average. That is in jeopardy tomorrow here at Talladega. You'll see it on CBS.
Waltrip is starting to get edgy, Ken. He's moving around, looking for some racing room. He wants to be a bit further up than he is when that mad dash to the checkered flag comes on the final lap.
There's Darrell Waltrip in his 18th IROC start, looking them over. He didn't practice too much. Of course, he's been out here in his famed car number 11 considerably. He has his own team for next year on his major circuit. Knows this track well, is a 2-time winner of the Talladega 500, a 5-time winner at the Alabama International Motor Speedway.
Notice a steady hand on the wheel, Ken. They're very calm, very steady there, steering this car onto the flat stretch of the course.
There's Waltrip flush out against the wall. Looks inside. Back with the leader. Yarborough is there. Elliott in second. Gant in third. And then the Indianapolis star, 24-year-old Al Unser Jr., who led and won. Flag to flag at Mid-Ohio. Hangs right onto him. We will continue with more of the International Race of Champions after working the 28 to 38 laps here at Talladega, Alabama, on the 2.6-mile fastest oval in the world. You're watching Cale Yarborough leading Bill Elliott by just a tad, with Harry Gant in third. Then the Unsers come in 4th and 5th. 6th is Waltrip, 7th is Mears, 8th is Rahal, 9th is the yellow car of Stuck running, 10th is Moss, 11th is Haywood. Ludwig is still out back. Ludwig has pulled himself up to 9th and then fallen back. You either stand on line with 10 laps to go or you retreat. Let's see what kind of a counterattack is being planned by Elliott, Gant, and the Unser clan as we get down toward the finish of this one, Chris Economac.
Indy drivers Rick Mears and Bobby Rahal are back in 7th and 8th place. It's a little surprising. Mears, who led at the outset so quickly and now has fallen to 7th. Rahal is coming off a win in Toronto last Sunday in an IndyCar race, and on Monday he was invited by President Reagan to have tea with him Monday afternoon, which he did with his wife. So he's had quite an experience these last few days.
In the Oval Office itself, Chris. Let's go to Ned Jarrett with Jay Signori.
Ken, you were talking a moment ago, Chris Economac was, about how equal the cars are prepared for this race. Jay, you told me yesterday that they're, within about 0.15 of a second?
That's right, Ned. They're really, this is the closest we've ever seen them. Right now, the crew guys have really done a great job in detailing each car and making sure that everything was just perfect on them. And we worked pretty hard on carburation this trip around to get them equalized, and also the jetting.
Is that maybe the difference, is what's brought them closer together?
We're thinking we played a lot with the fuel system this trip around, and that's really helped. And we saw a jet change give us 1/10 of a second, which was really amazing for down here.
Well, Ken, it's well over 100 degrees here in the pits today, according to a thermometer that we have set up here. That should be about the temperature on the track as well.
You know why Jason Noy is smiling, Ken, is because not a car has a mark on it yet. There's no fiberglass rip, no metal torn, no fender stented. That's what he has to fix.
You had better knock on wood. Ludwig, who has never run this track, keeps trying the inside. He is now pulled by the red car of Hurley Haywood. He gets down there and gets loose like Jochen Moss did at Daytona. They have a real thrilling experience, and Mr. Signori can be back in the repair business. Laps 30 complete, 8 to go. Yarborough stays in front. Elliott hangs on to second. Gant maintaining third. And a steady Unser group running fourth and fifth.
Well, as you said, patience is a virtue. Something is going to happen before it's over. And Elliott now looks like he's testing Yarborough. He's finding out what the car will do out of the draft. Notice he moves a little to the side to see how much of a handicap it is to pull away. Cale did a beautiful job in overtaking for the lead on the outside, and it proved that it can be done. Elliott obviously was watching when that happened and is waving.
Running this tight together, there's one other element here. You can get the motors really overheated. When you're in that much of a draft, you've got to go out and scoop in some air now and then. And these veterans, the Unser certainly understand that, and that trio up in front does. But if you just hang on somebody's bumper and stay there for a while, you'll run the needle right off the top and turn it into a steamer. Average speed stays at 183.3 miles per hour. Nobody giving an inch nor taking an inch now. More in a moment of IROC round 3 in a moment.
This finishes, Ken. Cale Yarborough's clinched a 5-point bonus for leading the most laps in this very rich series.
5 laps to go as they come to the line. This time, 5 to go. Deployment stays just the same. Nobody wants to make one move out of sync with the rest of the field until it's payday. And that's coming now in about 4 3/4 laps. Yarborough stays front. Elliott hanging on to second. Gant for third. Back straight away. Yarborough pulls out just a little. Now watch Elliott and Gant clamber back up on top of him. Looks like we're in for a tremendous finish, Chris. And it's right here in front of us, 400 feet out of the tri-oval. And even in these cars, that tri-oval where they look so stable, not here, but in this next area, the banking considerably less, 17 degrees, and the back end just picks up a lot in here. Had to add some weight to these cars because the weight bias on these machines toward the back of the car is making them very light at that part of the course. Unser Jr. in fourth, looks inside, back up on those 5-story banks. Tomorrow, 40 cars thrashing. Elliott will be on the pole after setting a new record in qualifying for the Talladega 500 at 209 miles per hour. And the whole field except one qualified at over 200 miles per hour. Don't miss it here tomorrow on CBS.
Well, Cale Yarborough out front is really the big money winner over the years in IROC with more than $250,000 in his 8 series and 4 wins. $255,100 he's taken out of these Chevrolets over the years. And looks like he's going to win a lot more today.
Brustein right on Cale Yarborough's rear bumper is Bill Elliott. Perched behind him comes Harry Gant. And then Unser's running 4th and 5th. Waltrip back in 6th. Mears is 7th. Ray Hall 8th. Strook is 9th. Moss is in 10th. Ludwig 11th. Haywood 12th. Final laps.
You know, these Camaros are extremely stable. Look at Klaus Ludwig down low.
In the back of the
starting
field.
to move up.
In the back of the field, Ludwig is making a tremendous charge. There you see him. I think that's going to run out. He's going to dissipate that as they get up to full speed.
Well, he's learned his lessons in the car. Now, I was just making the point that these cars, you know, the stock cars that race tomorrow have had all kinds of aerodynamic attention paid to them. These cars are production Camaro bodies on here, and they're doing a magnificent job out here on the racetrack. Rock steady and 4 square all the way around at great speed.
2 laps to go. Remember, Al Unser won at Daytona in the first encounter on that 2.5-mile super speedway. Then at Mid-Ohio, 24-year-old Al Unser Jr. did it. It flashed 2 to go, and you're in Unser Jr.'s car with 2 to go.
I'm watching Darrell Waltrip back there. He's not happy way back there. He's been nosing around, and I think that Mr. Waltrip is going to be the one that's closest to fireworks before this is over.
Waltrip in the 6th position. Looks him over, falls back a little here. Now 3 car lengths back.
He wants to get a run on him when the time is right.
He's got to find somebody to run with, Chris. Somebody's got to come with him. Here we are in turns 3 and 4. Again, the orange car, Cale Yarborough, 1984 IROC champion, former winner here at the Talladega 500. Behind him, Bill Elliott. Loves these super speedways. Harry Gant, just cruising now. White flag, 1 lap remaining in IROC round 3. Every car still just 1 second apart. Talk about precision driving. This looks like the 30s. Back at the World's Fair with Lucky Peter and Jimmy Lynch, Chris.
That's right.
Inches apart.
Death Dodgers, they were called.
Yeah, the Death Dodgers indeed. Back straightaway.
Okay.
Final lap, and there's the move. Gant takes a look on the outside. Yarborough drops down in the middle. No question, Elliott wants to make a run. Here he comes. The blue car, the light blue car of Elliott pulling up on the inside and down. Here is Unser making his move.
They're all over the lot, Ken.
The skirmish is on. Yarborough stays in front. Behind them, they're 3 and 4 wide. Coming down. Inside of Waltrip's automobile, headed for the tri-oval. As they come to the line, Cale is there. He's being challenged.
The fans are on their feet.
On the inside, up into third, moves Waltrip, falls back. Gamble takes second. Yarborough will win it.
Ha! And Yarborough held them off for his 5th win, the most ever by any driver in the long history of this great series. And what a final lap. What great driving. Nobody touched anyone else, and they're all over this racetrack.
Fantastic race for Cale Yarborough. Harry Gant is second. Bill Elliott third at the finish. Will meet the win.
With not only the race winner, but the series leader after winning this race today. Cale Yarborough, congratulations.
Well, thank you, Ned. Thank the good Lord for a safe race. That's the best IROC race we've had, I think. Everything went good. We had no accidents, and it was just a good race, and this car ran super good. And, you know, just thank goodness I came up from back in the pack and got in the lead and stayed in the lead and fought them off at the end.
You were able to do that on the high side of the racetrack, and Jay Signori told us yesterday that the cars in testing that they would run about 0.3 of a second faster down on the low side.
Well, I felt like my car was working better up high, so I moved up high. That's the way I did all my passing, so I said, well, you know, it worked good up there, so that's the way I ran it. Now, on the last lap, I ducked down low and got off the second turn down the backstretch a little bit better than they did, and then they got to battling back there, so I just played my moves on each one going down the backstretch, and luckily beat him across the finish line.
You had to know that you were a sitting duck when the white flag came down.
Oh, I knew I was a sitting duck, but, you know, it's just like a checker game. I just played each card. I'd watch my mirror, and I'd play each card. He'd make a move, I'd play off of him and try to get him racing with somebody else, and it just let me get away.
Well, Ken, this is going to make for one interesting race on August the 9th at Watkins Glen, New York.
Well, thank you, Ned. And some of the NASCAR stars continue to prep for tomorrow's Talladega 500. Here are the final standings on today's race. Cale Yarborough from 7th to win it. Gant in second, Elliott third, then Waltrip. And Jochen Moss with an outstanding drive comes home in 5th. Now the second 6, Al Unser falling back in that last lap. Klaus Ludwig, who came in late, ends up exactly where he began. Series standings as of now. Yarborough jumps in front. Al Unser goes to second. Elliott to third. Harry Gant is in 4th. As we take a look at those standings a little further back, Bobby Rahal had a good start today with 25 points. He'll have a real battle on his hands when we get to Watkins Glen in 2 weeks. Chris Economaki, in my mind, that last lap was the whole race.
It's amazing. There were some wild maneuvers there, but Jochen Moss came from 10th to 5th on the last lap, which is quite an achievement. And Yarborough's victory, his first oval track triumph in 9 years, and it makes him the 5-time winner more than anyone else. And you know, don't count anybody out. Last year, going into the final, Harry Gant was buried in 9th place in the standings and came on in the final race to win the series. So we look for a lot of excitement at Watkins Glen.
Let's take another look at the pass that did it for Cale Yarborough today. He was trailing Rick Mears. And the word was not to use the outside. The quick way was the inside. But Cale, as he told you, felt confident. And here's the maneuver that won it for Yarborough, passing the 2-time Indianapolis champion to go on to victory.